Well, greetings and hello there, everybody. It's me, your beloved Star Wars dad, Nooch Too Good. And in the topsy-turvy world of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, where Lightspeed bundles are being released, it seems like by the end of 2025, we'll have pretty much the whole game out there in Lightspeed bundles. You're trying to compete against folks that are spending. You're trying to build your roster the best, most efficient way possible for success in the game. This is my ultimate guide to free-to-play success, full of tips, ideas, tricks, things you can do in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes to stay competitive as a free-to-play player. And I think we got something for the pay-to-play folks along the way. I think we'll have some advice and thoughts for everybody here. Let's start with our very first thought. This will be the overarching thought of this entire video, and that is focus. You've got to maintain your focus. This is for my buddy Steve. Steve, if you're out there, I know you'll enjoy this one. Let me, if you see this, Steve, text me because I know you have a story for this word. Anyway, you got to focus on what you're doing. You've got to pay attention. You got to make sure you're dialed in. Everything I tell you today is going to have at its base focus. You've got to stay dialed in on the task in front of you. There are things going on in the game, in life, everywhere in general, at work, around you. There are always things happening that are outside of your control. Now, you can spend your entire time focused on those things and dialed in on things that you can't control, and you will be miserable. You'll be miserable in the game. You'll be miserable as a person. You'll be miserable at work. There are things that are out of your control. You can only focus on the things that you control in the game. And that will be the theme of this video as we move forward to every piece of advice and tip and trick and whatever you want to call it. The first thing we'll talk about is Fleet Arena. Fleet Arena is the initial and primary driving force on your roster for crystals in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. And crystals are, yea verily, the most important currency in the game. In fact, crystals are what helps you to refresh your other currency to get your farming done efficiently. Crystals feed you into future farms. You save crystals to get ships that unlock at 4 stars to 7 stars as fast as possible. Crystals are life in the game, and Fleet Arena gets you those crystals. Top 5 get 300 to 400 crystals. Top 10 get 200. Top 20 get 100. You've got to be dialed in. Now, we got a lot of videos out here on how to be free to play at the top of the Fleet Arena chart, or to be competitive there. We usually talk about farming bounty hunter ships, using it with like Executrix early and then transitioning to Executor later on. You can also do like I'm doing right now, and you're farming the Galactic Republic fleet, although it's not quite as awesome as it was a year ago at this time, or maybe like 3 months ago at this time. But there are a couple ways to do it. I think that's really the only 2 ways you can stay at the top of Fleet Arena. You can look at the ranks here. There may be some Chimera fleets mixing here too, but it's almost all negotiators. There's a Malevolence and 3 executors. So Fleet Arena is going to be the very first tip. You've got to dial in to keep that crystal income coming in early and often in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Next, let's talk about assault battles. It has been a big focus of this channel this year to talk about assault battle farming. It's in every farming guide I published. I actually have an assault battle specific farming guide that I need to republish because there's more added now. The more you farm for assault battles, the more success you set up for your account in the long run. This is the Forest Moon assault battle. You see all this stuff down here down? I mean, this is mods, which is nice, important. We'll talk about that later. But this is all gear. Zetas, Kyrotechs, I can never remember what these are called, injector salvage pieces, relic pieces. You need all this gear so much, and the more assault battles you build up for on your roster, the more success you're going to have long-term building up your roster. Not only that, you're going to farm some really good teams for those assault battles. In the meantime, it's why we really dial in those. When you're really looking at success in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, think about the assault battles and think about what you need to farm on your roster to be successful for doing assault battles. Get into a good guild. That's going to be our next focus here. And boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, again, we have harped on this, and I will tell you, if you're tuned in and you're saying, yeah, we've heard all this before, it's because it's so important. I can't get around it. We will have some new stuff in here for you, I promise. So the guild, you've got to be in a good guild. There are ways as a new player or a returning player to find a good quality guild that fits your life in the game, that works around your roster, that does stuff for you, that makes sense on your roster. A guild that is playing at least Darkside Geonosis territory battles to get you those Wat Tambor shards. If you're not getting Wat Tambor shards in Geonosis Separatist Might territory battle, you are missing out on a lot of great stuff in the game. And then, not just that, there's territory wars, there's raids. You're going to get raids launched by your guild, and these raids are so important to the growth of your roster and the success of what you're going to do. You've got to be in a great guild. You can get into a great guild early on. Check out my videos on that. They're really, really informative, and they'll take you to a direct path of finding a guild that works for you. A lot of people have told me that they started an account, and you can get to level 85 in 2 weeks now, by the way. I have a friend that told me that. Level 85 in 2 weeks. Get a good guild. The guild is going to feed into almost everything that you do in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. I'd say everything you do. Hey, you got to do some of those cheap non-Kyrotech farms. This is not something we talked about in the past, but it's becoming more and more apparent as you move forward in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. When you get to some of these later farms, and you do Jedi Knight Cal Kestis, when you look at Jar Jar, Starkiller, Grand Inquisitor, Dr. Aphra, Balin Skull, Profundity, the Leviathan, when you look at Bo-Katan Mandalore, even Jedi Knight Luke and Gas are going to require some Kyrotechs along the way. The Galactic Legends are all Kyrotech heavy. You've got to build up some teams on your roster that are not going to depend on tons and tons of Kyrotechs to really fill out the teams. And that's going to include some assault battle farming with your CLS team, your Imperial Trooper team with Veers Lee Trooper, or even Iden, which I don't really recommend, but they're there. You know, you look up here, this Bad Batch farm that I'm doing right now is very Kyrotech heavy, and it's taking me forever to get through free to play. Now, I'm doing this farm. I don't recommend this farm. I'm doing it because the people that follow me and are on my Discord voted for me to do this farm. That's why I'm farming toward Lord Vader, because you guys all voted. It's great. I'm having fun. We're doing a lot of great things together. But I wouldn't recommend that early on because each of these characters requires 400 Kyrotechs on them. And that's just too much to ask from a game at a roster at 1.7 million. You should be focused on characters like Bosk or General Kenobi or Wampa, Jedi Knight Anakin, Ahsoka. These characters don't need a lot of Kyrotechs. Padawan Obi-Wan and Master Qui-Gon do, but that's really for an assault battle. That's going to do a lot of good for me down the road. But even just having those guys at 7 stars, watch all the assault battle stuff. It'll help you a lot. When we look at Kyrotech farming on my roster as well, let's go to my Imperial Troopers. That's a really good example. You know, Iden Versio needs 400 Kyrotechs. The rest of these guys don't need a single Kyrotech until they get to level 12. And at level 12, they need 100. And that's it. It's much easier farming when you go that route. The same can be said for like a Veers team. If you go Veers, Piet needs 400, but old Veers only needs 100. You could throw in there your range troopers is needed. You could also add in a shore trooper or a storm trooper or a death trooper or a snow trooper. You could do a lot of troopers there on an effective trooper team that's Colonel Stark that don't need a lot of Kyrotechs. The same could be said for like a Phoenix team, and that's why we love this team too. Everybody except Captain Rex is cheap Kyrotech farming. They only require 100. You can look up at swgoh.gg, get the gear list, see how many Kyrotechs they require. It's also why we really look at a farm like the CLS team with CLS, Han Solo, 3PO, and Chewbacca not being Kyrotech heavy on that team. Chewpio is, but a lot of ways you can farm up a good, early, solid roster without getting into a bunch of Kyrotechs. It's also why we recommend Executor as your first capital ship in the game, because there's only one character in there that's Kyrotech heavy, and that is Admiral Piet. The rest are going to be pretty Kyrotech easy on the soul, and that's going to be good for your early farming. It's a great reason why you should farm Executor early for Fleet Arena. Get those cheap non-Kyrotech teams up and running, boys and girls. Hey, beware of shiny objects. This is like focus defined. This is like focus defined. There are always new characters released. There are always recent characters that have been released in the game, and it sounds like next year we may be going into even another mode of releasing new characters. Right now, you can see General Syndulla is out here. You should definitely play the marquees. You get rewards in there like mods. I didn't finish this one off. I'm just lazy. We can do it right now. It'll take 1 minute. Bop, bop. get it. You know, you should unlock the marquees. Get these characters at 3 stars. There are rewards for that. And if you replay the event every day at tier 1, you get 3 mods a day. Or 2 mods a day, sorry. That's better than a kick in the teeth. You know, mods are really important to your game, so I do recommend playing and getting the marquee characters to 3 stars, but then you should stop on almost all characters. The only exception I've made on this account this year, and even the only exception I've made on any recent accounts that I've done a lot of free-to-play farming in this game with multiple accounts. The only exceptions I've made to farming new characters or new-ish characters was the ones I showed you a minute ago, and that is Padawan Obi-Wan and Master Qui-Gon. Now, these 2 at 7 stars are needed for the Duel of the Fates Assault Battle. Actually, you don't need them at 7 stars, but 7 stars, you start unlocking mod materials for yourself every single month, and those mod materials are really valuable. When you get them up to relic levels, they unlock a lot more for you. That assault battle is unique. It's the rewards are even better than any other assault battle, and these guys are a pretty easy farm in Cantina. This is the one exception I've made to my rule here, because what you're going to see is new characters are only farmable by spending crystals, and you're not going to spend crystals to get them. I'll talk about that in 1 second here. Also, any character released in roughly the last year is only going to return 1 character for every node you farm them on. For Cantina battles right here, the big orange energy, that's not so bad. It's okay. It's not perfect. It's going to take you a little bit longer. It'll take you twice as long, actually. I can do math. I can do basic math. But it still isn't that difficult. For a regular energy farm, let's take a look at another assault battle that's out there right now. That's a new assault battle that's really awesome that I am not farmed up for. It's these Night Troopers. The Night Trooper, Colonel Captain Enoch, and Death Trooper Peridia. Well, these guys are on regular energy nodes, and they're only returning 1 shard per regular energy node. That's not going to be where I'm going to go there. That's not going to. This is a shiny object to avoid, because that's going to take you 6 months to farm it, and you ain't got 6 months. You got to work on other stuff on your roster. So, Cantina farm for new characters, maybe. Other farms, not so much. And if we look at, like, this is what I'm talking about with old characters here. You can see on Moff Gideon's nodes here for Cantina and for regular energy. 2 shards available on that, because he's been around for a long time in the game. So avoid bright shiny objects if you're free to play farming, unless you are end game free to play. There are some people that have been playing the game for a long time, and they are end game ready on their accounts. They've done a lot of stuff. If you're not that, if you're just starting off, if you're mid game, even if you're late game, if you don't have every galactic legend on your roster, that's kind of the measurement, and all the side farms, avoid these marquee events. And I want to add one more thing to it. Recently, with the launch of the episode passes, I've heard some creators kind of maybe insinuating that you should perhaps spend some free-to-play crystals on these packs right here, these General Syndulla marquee packs. Never, ever, ever. For the extent of your life, from the time you're playing the start play game to the time you end playing this game, never buy these packs. You're going to get 7 shards. You might get 5 shards. Anything above that is just congratulations. You got 10 or 12, that's a 10% chance, 1.99%, 0.07%. Anything 20 shards and above is 0.07%. You need 330 shards to unlock a character. Don't buy this. You're just blowing. Look at this. I've only got 1,100 crystals. If I saved up 200 more crystals and spent 1,300 on this, that's my entire wad I've blown on just this one pack, and I'm going to get 7 shards. Never, ever worth it. Not worth it. So avoid shiny objects ahead. Next, coming up, quests and achievements. This is something new. You know, the quests here, I've already done my quests for the day. You need to do your daily quests every day. These are very easy to accomplish. It's 5 to 10 minutes. This is your toilet gaming. Get all your daily chest quests achieved, then collect your final reward here to get your rewards on the episode track. You know, this thing is 3 weeks in. We're on the final week of it. I'm at level 33. They're going to make it a little bit easier next time. I'll probably be more like level 35 next time when I come around. Will we get to at level 50? I don't know. Possibly free to play, but it's still very important. Come in, do these. I've been told for people that are in guilds are no longer having to police tickets because these rewards here include 600 tickets that you're getting for your guild. So make sure to pay it. I think it does. It's close. Is it 600? Maybe that's only, did they include the other energy and tickets now? They might have. I think they might have done that. Anyway, do this stuff every day. There are also some episode quests that you can do that are free to play, like win 3 battles of ghosts in your fleet, attempt to inflict blind 10 times, defeat 10 enemies with Phoenix characters. You can get these accomplished and push yourself forward on the episode path. It's really important because you're going to get rewards. These are really good rewards that you get throughout the month here. Really nice stuff. Make sure you're doing your daily quests, and then when you these character quests, you can ignore this. You get a few of these because you get to 3 stars and you can move on because you're not getting that next marquee. Then pay attention to the quests here, these journey quests, and you're going to get journey quests are going to give you a lot of XP early, a lot of character shards and ship shards early. Then you get these prestigious quests that give you a bunch of rewards. I mean, look at this. This is getting me basically a full furnace piece. These are really nice rewards for these prestigious quests. Pay attention to these. They're tied to Grand Arena. They'll be great for you. And achievements are something to pay attention to as well. This is how you unlock Darth Vader. You get a bunch of extra crystals and stuff in this, so very important, something to pay attention to. Pay attention to the quests and achievements now in game. That's how you're going to earn a lot of rewards. I don't think I can emphasize this one enough. Participation, participation, participation. Play territory battles with your guild. Play territory wars with your guild. Play Grand Arena when it gets going. Play Conquest. Do something, even if you don't play all of these game modes to their absolute maximum, end game status, at least play them on some level. Your account will benefit long term from being active and participating every day. There was some grousing when the new update came out, go through all the shipments every day. When the new update came out, there was some grousing like, well, this is really punishing people that don't play every day, blah, blah, blah. I get it. I get it. But honestly, that has always happened in every game that you play. If you play any grinding game out there, any collecting game, any grind game, honestly, if you play any first-person shooter out there, if you don't play every day, you're going to not advance as quickly as people that do. Period. I don't know what to say. That seems like I don't understand the complaint. I do get that a lot of you guys aren't daily players, and there's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to play every day. But the more you participate, the faster you advance, the better off your roster is. There's no other way to put it. It's as simple as that. Participation reaps rewards. Plan your farm and farm your plan. This is something we've talked about all along the way, and it is more important now than ever. With Lightspeed bundles coming out, you've got to know the next 3 or 4 farms you're going to be doing on your roster. And let's take my roster for an example. I've been doing these, my first team was actually the Qui-Gon Jinn Omicron team, because that was also going with my fleet. My negotiator fleet was built up with Jedi Knight Anakin and his Eta 2 Starfighter. God, I need him to pilot it, so I went ahead and relicked him. The next, I worked on Ahsoka. She's a pretty easy farm, and her Starfighter is pretty easy too. General Kenobi is there for the negotiator. Those 3 guys, and then I got a Qui-Gon Jinn, Zeta, and Omicron to make myself a really awesome team for Grand Arena that gets a lot of holds for me. My next team was the Iden Versio Troopers. I don't recommend this to people. We're trying some different things on this account. We have a big, long farming path that I'm going to show you right now, and this is what I mean. Plan your farm and farm your plan. You can see our plan at the top was to do something unique. We didn't want to farm Phoenix and Geos and Darth Vader. We changed up our fleet farm because they changed the free-to-play farming for us in the middle. We've eliminated Profundity and Gungans because that's just extra stuff that wasn't adding any value to our farm. We're doing Iden Versio as an alternative early Imperial Trooper team to see how it does. We got our negotiator team completed. We completed Iden Versio. We completed the Duel of the Fates Assault Battle, all things I've talked about. Now we're working on Bad Batch, the 501st, Night Sisters, and the Revens before we move into earnest into the Lord Vader farming. You got to know what's next on your roster, and I know now that I finished my Iden Versio team there, now moving on to my Bad Batch. That's going to help me with not only my Bad Batch team and a great little team to have, it's required for Lord Vader, it's also going to give me a great Marauder here for my Fleet Arena activity. So Marauder's going to do some great stuff. Next up for me is going to be Ewoks. That's why I've got my Ewoks loaded, and after that it's going to be Old Republic and Sith Empire, the Revens, like I just mentioned. But I'm farming my Ewoks right now, so I've got them here on the board so I can go get C3 C3PO. I know because I'm paying attention that I need C3PO to unlock Lord Vader. If we look at the long farming path, we go to Galactic Legends. Here's Lord Vader. I scroll through the requirements. There's Hunter, Tech, and Wrecker, and etc. that I need Bad Batch wise. Down here is going to be General Skywalker at Relic 8. I don't have General Skywalker. How do I get General Skywalker? I go to General Skywalker's Journey. Required there are my Galactic Republic ships. I'll need that 7-star Negotiator or Endurance. Then I've got to get these guys all geared up. I'm farming Shaak Ti right now. I need C3PO. How do you get C3PO? Well, that is going to be gotten through this C3PO journey. And I need Ewoks for the C3PO journey. You can see here I've got 5 Ewoks at 7 stars. I need the other 3. We're going to be actually playing this journey to see how it goes. So I'm farming all of them up to 7 stars in Gear 7. We just want to play all different or a bunch of different combinations in there to have some fun with that C3PO event. So right now I'm farming Chirpa and Nisa and Wicket to make myself really have some success. Well, I have to. So I'm aware of what's coming up next on the roster, and I'm going to go back through all these. And let's just go to the home screen. Now, I'm going to have to go back through every single one of those. So I know that right now I'm finishing the Bad Batch. It's painful. It's a lot of Kyrotechs. It's going to take me another month or so, maybe less than that, we'll see. While I'm doing that, I'm getting my Ewoks ready to go for the 3PO event. When I get my 3 Ewoks farmed, I'll be getting over to my Old Republic and Sith Empire for Darth and Jedi Knight Revan. After that is Tuskens, etc. I got to get my Night Sisters up in the meantime, gear them up for Secrets and Shadows. You've got to know what's coming up next. You've got to plan your farm and farm your plan. It's really important, and along the way, make sure that you finish your farms. Now, what does finishing your farms mean? It means if you're farming for a Galactic Legend or farming for a journey, make sure you farm up to the place you need them. If you look at a journey like the older journeys, you can kind of try to min-max those. The newer journeys, for instance, Balin Skull here, Shin Hati at Relic 7, Merrick at Relic 7, Morgan Elsbeth at Relic 7. This actually has Relic 7 requirements. That's completing the teams. Earlier journeys like Chewbacca just says Bounty Hunters. 3-star, 4-star, up to 7-star bounty hunters. Recommended power, but you can have any power you want to try to get the event done. Nothing is actually required to do for this event. So you can farm them up. That's just journey-wise, Grand Arena, territory battles. When a team is working for you at the level you want it to work for you, that means that team is complete. That is why I've stopped adding Stormtrooper here, and I'll talk about that in a second here, by the way. That's why I am no longer adding Stormtrooper here to my Iden Versio team, and I took it too far. I added too much gear to him in the meantime, but Relicking Stormtrooper isn't going to help me do anything better at this point in the assault battles or anywhere else, so I'm done farming Stormtrooper. And let's back up 1 minute here. When I say plan your farm and farm your plan, and I say finish your farm, one important thing to do, and you'll note that on my roster, except for Stormtrooper, because that was a mistake that I made, I haven't added any gear to any of these characters at any gear level, except for the Stormtrooper that I thought I was going to take the Relic, and I changed my mind on it. I could add 5 extra gear pieces here, finishing gear pieces at gear 12, to take another character to Relic that I don't have right now. I don't add these pieces unless I know the team is being farmed. So right now I got Record or Relic. I did add the gear pieces on him. I did add the gear pieces on Hunter. Now I'm going to be finishing Tech and Echo. I'm going to get them finished. I'm going to push forward and make sure I get both of them complete. But there's no reason for me to add these gear pieces until I get these Kyrotechs done. Why would I bother with that? It's just, you might have to change path. You might. I'm not going to, because I planned my farm and I farmed my plan and I finished my farms. But I just recommend hold that gear until it's ready to apply to the team or the specific character, because you never know what's going to happen to change your farm. Once you do to the character's Relic on the team, you're all in on the team. So just be careful where you're applying gear. I wish I hadn't applied this gear on Stormtrooper. While we're talking about that, let's talk about Hoarding. As a free-to-play player, you are in not a unique position, but a better position than those buying Lightspeed bundles to hoard gear, to hoard Zetas, to hoard Omicrons. You can save it all up and apply it as necessary down the road. There's nothing wrong with holding this Omicron piece in my roster till I've got the right place to apply it. I'm not sure where to put it yet. So I'm thinking of my options. Yeah, it might help me in Grand Arena to have Rex a little bit better, but he's a low gear level. So I'm just not sure if it's the way, actually, It only works for Phoenix. Generally speaking, it does add some stuff to Rex. So not a great Omicron for me to add because I'm not farming Phoenix. There's nothing wrong with holding on to 20, 40, 60, 80, 100 Omicron mats. It's not going to hurt you, and apply them where needed. The same can be said for wrong ability Zeta mats. I got 34 right now. I've got Zetas all over the Zetas are plentiful for free to play. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got them all on my Bad Batch and my Captain Rex. 6, 7 on my Poncho Bros. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, 21. These are actually probably kind of wasted Zetas. I wanted to test some stuff out with Smugglers Run, and it didn't really work out very well for me. A lot of Zetas will be provided to you. There's nothing wrong with saving up. Again, 40, 60, 80, 100, 160, you're probably saving up too much by that point. There's nothing wrong with hoarding gear, with hoarding Zetas, with hoarding Omicrons, and waiting to apply it in the proper place when you're ready to apply it. If you look at Echo here, that's not Carbantes. I'm looking for... I gotta find somebody with Carbantes here. Hold on. Okay. I got 558 of these. I got 428 Carbantes. I'm not applying it yet. I want to get him ready for the next gear level before I apply any of this gear. I just want to make sure I'm good to go. So make sure when you're hoarding that you're doing it right. When you're finishing your farm, when you're planning your farm, that's what you want to do. And our final tip for the day: mods and mods and mods and mods and more mods. Make sure you're farming mods. We focus on it all the time. When you get out to the game, having good mods and great mods on your characters is going to be the best benefit for you that you can possibly have in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. If you're not spending energy here or over here to get 5 mods, I'd say 20% of the time over here you're farming 5 mods. Don't farm anything other than 5 mods. You got to do these to get them done. 5 mods is the way to go. These final tiers, don't ever farm these. They're just a waste of time. You're going to do this about 20% of the time. 80% of the time, you'll be over here in mod battles on the final tier farming this stuff. The more mods you have, the more you can slice mods and make better mods, the better off your roster will be in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. I promise you. It's why we measure it for every single roster review we do, which is a lot. We measure mod scores to see how people are doing with mods, because mods are important. I will tell you, on this free-to-play account, I've got a very good mod score, and I honestly, I've not refreshed mod notes every single day, 3 times a day. I've been unable to do that, but I've got some really good mods on this roster that I've applied to characters: 18 speed, 22 speed, 15 speed, 50. I've got good mods, not amazing mods, but I've got good mods on this roster that are providing a ton of benefit to my roster, top to bottom. You will never regret spending time farming mods, and it's just a grinding out those mods. It is going to be good for your roster and pay you a lot of dividends over time. So let's take a look at all those things together in one big gulp here. Focus is the overall idea. You got to focus on what you're doing. You got to participate, plan your farm and farm your plan, get into a good guild, focus on Fleet Arena, get great mods, hoard, free-to-play player. You can hoard like nobody else can do it. Assault battle farming, finish your farms. Non-Kyrotech farming, get those easy to farm non-Kyrotech teams. Do your daily quests and achievements, and beware shiny objects. And all of these things will lead you to free-to-play success in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Everybody, have a great day. Let me know in comments all the things that you have done that have led you to free-to-play success, or just, maybe light spending success or whatever in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Love to hear from you. Have a great day. Talk to you soon. Always remember, Nooch too good.